The story takes place on an island resembling the 22nd century Republic of Ireland. In a world ruled by Fractale, a satellite-based virtual reality and content delivery system that ensures mankind's stability and prosperity, Clayne decides to head to the flea market to see if he can get any old junk rather than eat with them. Along the way, he ponders the weird lyrics of the Daystar song because instead of wishing upon it, you offer your wish to it. Clayne got some data discs at the market, but soon it turned into a ghost town when the data security turned up. The usual 5 o'clock prayer, in which everyone has to face the direction of the temple, but appearing before Clayne's eyes is a priestess, Phryne, riding a little glider being chased by goons in a mini blimp. Clayne chases them, but he trips and tumbles. His eyes met Phryne's, and she jumped off her glider. He climbs down the cliff to see her unconscious, and they hide in a little cave before the pursuers give up. Clayne brings Phryne back to his house, and he has a tough time explaining the situation to his doppel-parents. Without shame, she takes off her clothes right in front of Clayne. She wants him to apply ointment to the wound on her back. Phryne sees a hologram video of Clayne when he was a baby and at a time when he had real parents. She thinks he treasures the memories and times with his parents, but he says he's more interested in the antique device. Phryne starts crying because he doesn't smile like that anymore, but she soon pulls his mouth shut to make him understand what she means. She notes that he is the one and starts singing the Daystar song. She then gives him a little amulet as a charm to protect his smile. Then the pursuers came knocking on their door. Clayne could tell them because of their horrible disguise and excuse. The goons, led by Henri and her underlings, Butcher and Takami, storm into the house to search for Phryne. Henri spots Phryne's dress and thinks Clayne has done something perverted to her. They disinfect him by throwing him out of his own house. But they soon leave, seeing that they couldn't find their target. Their blimp experiences problems after flying off thanks to cheeky Phryne, who borrowed a screw from it. Clayne brings Phryne to his secret hideout, a ruined chapel supposedly where radio waves can't reach. Phryne is talking about the moonlight that gives her peace, but Clayne just dozes off. He wakes up at the break of dawn to find Phryne missing. He goes back home to analyze the amulet she gave, and suddenly a red-haired girl appears. The little girl's name is Nessa. Clayne thinks she is a doppel, but to his surprise, he can touch and feel her. She starts singing the Daystar song and goes exploring the house. The doppel Clayne's parents advise him to give her back since she isn't human. Clayne peddles Nessa to the main town. She is playful, causing Clayne little worry. Clayne has a hard time chasing her down because she has the ability to pop up just about anywhere. So when Clayne catches up at the top of the building, she's already down there. Nessa then causes havoc with those freedom-loving citizens at a campsite because her mere touch causes their machine to go haywire. Now they are gunning for Clayne's head. Clayne thinks of leaving Nessa with security, but she wants to be with him because her home is wherever he is since he is the one who summoned her. But Clayne can't touch Nessa anymore, so he leaves her with security and goes off. He finds his bicycle dismantled by Henri and her goons. They bring him to Henri's brother, Sunda Granitz. He is interested in the one causing an uproar at the campsite, but since Clayne doesn't know much, he has him leave. Much of Henri is upset. Sunda parts with words to Clayne, saying that though they leave work and stuff to doppels, something you can feel on your skin will have a totally different impression. Clayne goes home to do research on doppels like Nessa. He is shocked to learn they are sold on the black market as sex toys. Later, Clayne's doppel parents talk to him about his recent change in behavior and the importance of trust in families. He just turned them off, but Clayne still feels bothered. So he runs the whole day until he tires out. Suddenly, he sees a happy Nessa approaching. She jumps into his arms, as he thinks her smile isn't that scary after all. But the mood is ruined when he notices Henri and the gang stalking them nearby. Then Nessa spots a suspicious treasure chest nearby and approaches it. It was an obvious trap, as the duo fell into a pit. Henri captures them and prepares to take them away in their blimp. They are taken to Granite's village as prisoners, but Clayne gets excited upon seeing all the old stuff. Some of the citizens meet them, and it seems they need a special visor to see and touch Nessa. That's because, unlike Clayne, they do not have terminal input in their heads. So there are many villages living outside the Fractale system too. After that they go to see Sunda. He has a man-to-man chat with Clayne. Sunda feels that the post-Fractale system has caused humans to lose their pride and spirit and robbed them of their true lives. Thus, the Lost Millennium is a big rebel group formed to bring down Fractale. To Clayne, it's just a big terrorist group. Clayne further learns that the village does everything without the help of Fractale or doppels. From growing food to the good all-schooling system, Sunda feels that the Fractale system is collapsing because balloons everywhere are crashing. As for why they're chasing after Phryne, she is the priestess of the temple and key to the world, and she ran away carrying the data of a doppel with her. He thinks there are invaluable secrets and data hidden in that doppel. Meanwhile, Nessa continues to freak Henry out by appearing anywhere, including the toilet. That night, everyone celebrates to welcome their guests. Klain doesn't like the people here, though Nessa thinks everyone here is nice. Then Klain tastes a soup and finds it really delicious. He has never eaten anything outside of a tube. Klain and Nessa are given a room to live in as butcher, and Takami advise him to go easy. Since Nessa couldn't eat, she asked Klain about the taste of the soup. He has a hard time describing it to her, so he starts dancing in weird poses to convey it to her. Nessa really understood that, but she is so happy. The next morning, Klain learns that Sunda will be leading his team to gatecrash the Star Festival. Klain explains that this festival is a must attend. If you don't, you won't get your blessings. That is, your doppels stop functioning properly. Sunda gives Klain special visors so he won't be influenced by the festival. The place is packed as the priestesses arrive. As the process begins, they see everyone staring at the sky as though they're possessed. Sunda mentions that this festival is just a cover-up for a mass update of nanomachinery. In short, brainwashing before humans start to stray by asking questions about their lifestyle is what this festival is for. So much so that it is normal for them not to be living together as real families. Sunda and his gang start the rebellion by firing at the old priestesses. The priestesses, in turn, protect the main priestess. Her hood falls off, and she reveals herself to be Nessa, the real one. But the temple also retaliates, with guards firing back. Many innocent people were hit and died without knowing what hit them. Between the firing from both sides, Butcher was hit and killed. Klain gets sick upon seeing so many dead bodies. Suddenly, Phryne shows up to continue the ritual. She goes up to Priestess Nessa as she greets Phryne as her sister. Sunda changes his plans and wants Phryne captured. When the people snap out of the ritual, they panic upon seeing so many dead bodies and cause a stampede. Phryne is surprised to see Klain here, but smoke screens soon fill the place. Sunda knocks Phryne out and takes her with him as his gang retreats. While Henry is saddened over the passing of Butcher, Klain and Nessa go to cut Phryne loose and want her to escape with them. She is not amused and slaps him for awakening Nessa. Nessa gets upset and starts hitting Phryne for hitting Klain. Their fight is interrupted when Sunda, after kicking Klain, comes to escort Phryne for questioning. Phryne also shares the same view of wanting the fractale system to break down, so Sunda offers her to join them, but she doesn't answer. Back at Granite's village, everyone attends Butcher's funeral. Klain is still confused by the fact that these murderers are being called noble warriors. Elsewhere at the temple, many old priestesses report to the Grand Priestess Morin about recent events and the Lost Millennium faction. With no choice, she thinks of suppressing the rebellion. Sunda has also predicted that the temple will be after them, so he and his Big Granite's family will be preparing to leave the village to spare its people. Klain and Nessa take this chance to escape. Since Klain is thinking about Phryne, Nessa gets upset and wants him to only think about her. Suddenly, part of the temple's army, led by Barrett, arrives at the village. Under the name of God, they seek to capture the Granite's family, not kill those who aren't related to them, and only use force as a last resort. The temple has always known about their location, but has chosen to keep quiet and tolerate their actions. Sunda and his gang spring into action to defend the town while at the same time making their escape to their ship, Dana. Klain sees Phryne trying to climb down from her prison tower with a makeshift rope. Nessa blocks him from going to see her, but he still insists, so she starts sulking. Meeting up with Phryne, she notes that Nessa hates her and never thought someone like him could break open such a database. She won't allow the temple to capture her. She rides a quad bike to escape with Klain as her pillion. Barrett's ship is hot on their tail, firing beams at them. Then Barrett corners them, but she isn't going to follow him back to the temple quietly, and continues to escape on her quad bike. She rides off the cliff. She lands on Danon. They leave Barrett's ship with a farewell present, a barrage of missiles. Klain and Phryne meet up with Sunda and the crew in the cockpit. Sunda thinks he likes their company despite what he said about them. As for Nessa, Klain feels bad for leaving her behind and won't be appearing until she cheers up. However, Phryne doesn't think that's possible. Nessa is seen standing on a cliff, watching Danon fly away. Sunda gives Klain the choice of leaving the ship or working to earn his stay. Sunda gives Klain a parachute if he wants to leave, but he takes the job doing cleaning toilets and the laundry. After that, they go to eat, but Klain finds it odd that everyone eats together. But as they say, food tastes much better when eaten together. Except for Phryne, who is nowhere to be seen. As Sunda notes, she doesn't blend easily, unlike him. Klain couldn't get Nessa out of his mind. For the longest time, she has not appeared. He sees Phryne in the laundry room, and they talk about Nessa. She envies him because Nessa thinks highly of him. Klain asked her with lots of questions pertaining to the temple, but she doesn't answer. As for Nessa's, she mentions that she can't allow herself to love her. Suddenly, Danon's cooling system breaks down. Everyone heads to the laundry area, as it is the coolest area. Klain goes to the cockpit to find out what has happened. But the grumpy grandpa throws him out, thinking he'll contaminate the system. So he searched for the source in the toilet. Klain thinks Nessa is the source and is hiding somewhere in this ship. She is in some sort of bad mood, and they need to cheer her up. So everybody starts dancing. Then, when everybody tumbles to one side together, Klain spots Nessa. Everybody starts chasing and finding her in this hide-and-seek game. But it would be hard to catch a doppel, who can just disappear and pop up anywhere. Nessa spots a weird spider and plays with it. It turns out to be a spy camera from Morin. Then Frine got locked in a room. She thinks Nessa won't come out because she's still mad, but Klain says she has forgotten about that and is having fun playing hide-and-seek. But Frine continues to talk in riddles and wants him to forget about her. As she sits by herself, she sees Nessa, who thinks she's hiding too. They mate up as Nessa catches Frine. Who is it? Once that is done, the ship's system recovers. Everyone smiles more often, and they don't treat Klain like an outsider anymore. Danon landed so that they could undergo maintenance. Nessa and a young girl on the ship are having fun in the water. Frine wants to join in the fun, so she suddenly strips naked and jumps in. And Klain happens to come by. Henry really thinks his pervert radar is super strong. However, they see an old guy snapping photos of them. He runs away, but Klain is interested in his old-fashioned camera. Then they see a group of lost people wandering aimlessly. Sunda points out that they stopped receiving Fractale's blessing when the balloon crashed. They can't live on their own and are totally reliant on Fractale. The dark side of human nature is seen when they tussle with that old guy after thinking he is hoarding food in his bag. Klain goes to help him out when suddenly an army arrives to maintain order. Another Lost Millennium faction is led by the dashing Diaz. He gives the accuser a taste of pain. Sunda calls her, and he knows Sunda. Then he proclaims that he wishes to help those who have been betrayed by Fractale, and wants them to follow him. The old guy dashes off, so Klain goes after him. The old man is living in an old-fashioned house, and the first thing Klain said to him was that he wanted to be his friend. This old man is an antique collector too, and Klain is absolutely excited about the treasure hoard. He tells Klain to meet him tonight at this place because he wants to show him something. When Klain returns to the rest, he talks highly of Diaz compared to Sunda, so the latter punishes him by making him do the night patrol. When everyone is asleep, Klain uses this chance to sneak away but is caught by Frine, who insists she wants to tag along. On the way, they pass by Diaz's camp as he treats all the lost Fractale citizens. He sees her as a pretty nice guy, so it's no surprise that they feel very indebted to him. But Frine says she prefers the people of Granite's more. Because of this, Klain and Frine try to outrun each other, accusing the other of being a sore loser. Upon reaching the old guy's place, he takes them to his roof, where he tweaks some devices, and suddenly the entire place turns into a beautiful town landscape. As explained, the temple accesses these balloons at midnight on a full moon. The radio waves became stronger, so his antenna managed to pick them up. This is what the town looked like before the balloon collapsed. The old guy's dream is to bring this region inside the active zone once more since people can't live without Fractale anymore. So instead of wandering and searching for radio waves, he intends to bring Fractale's blessings right here. He tells them to go down to the town to see the truth with their own eyes. Down there, they see some of the lost people relieved upon seeing the return of the Fractale system. However, some are getting upset that they can't. As mentioned by Diaz, he removed some of their terminals so they couldn't see Utopia anymore. Diaz shows his true colors when some of them try to escape and has them shot dead. Though he assures them that he will save them, they have no choice but to follow him. Soon, the place loses the waves and returns to normal. Klain rushes back to the old guy. He can tell he is dying, but he is not leaving this place since there are precious memories of his past. He wants to keep searching for radio waves, where all his memories lie. He gives Klain his camera as his parting gift before they all depart for Danon. Klain is having fun experimenting with his new camera. Suddenly, he finds himself in bed with a girl, Megan. She is a doppel, but she claims they had a passionate night. She tells her that this is the perfect city, Zanadu. Remembering how it all happened, Klain and Nessa took the little blimp out, and it crashed after Nessa started feeling sick. Frine, Henry, and Takami investigate the crashed blimp and curious where Klain went, but they meet a guy. He claims his village isn't part of the Lost Millennium, as everyone lives a simple life alongside nature, and appreciates its blessings. Klain is taken on a tour of Zanadu by Megan, but he is worried about Nessa's whereabouts. She takes him to see one of her friends, Colin, some sort of doppel designer. Klein finds Nessa in a fever on his couch. He explains that she is being hacked. So it's something similar to human bodies following sick people. In Nessa's case, her antivirus program is fending off whoever is hacking her. Then later, Klein overhears Megan and Colin discussing handing over Nessa to the temple since she is a wanted girl and getting their share of the reward. Meanwhile, Henry asks Frine if she's in some sort of sexual relationship with Klein. She claims that they are just friends because she has no right to be loved. Then Frine enters the art workshop of that Tibetan guy. He asks for her opinion, and in her honest words, it looks like a tap-dancing neurotic worm. However, that guy isn't happy and slams a vase at Frine. He accuses her of being a parasite on the network and is going to kill her. But Henry knocks him out with that giant work of his. Henry explains that everyone here is a liar. They are billionaires completely immersed in Fractale while they let their doppels do their work as they themselves go around pretending to be environmentalist nomads. Meanwhile, Klein takes Nessa and tries to escape. He feels how warm Nessa is and realizes that being in a world one can't touch is sad and cold. Megan prevents Klein from escaping by inputting a virus worm into his terminal. Nessa gets distraught seeing him writhing in pain. She goes berserk as she promises to protect him. A bright light engulfs the city and returns it to its original state. A desolated city void with all the cosmetics. Colin, in the form of a stuffed monkey, confronts Klein, as he won't let Fractale end because some people can only be free here. He also mentions the rumors that the key could destroy or save Fractale. Then he shoots Klein. To complicate matters, Barrett has also arrived. Henry notes to Sundin that Klein and Frine are captured. Nessa went crazy after that and is currently hiding somewhere in Dana. Frine meets her father, Barrett, and he is happy that he is reunited with her. He then wonders how close she and Klein are and will have her undergo a test to see if she is still worthy of being the key. She has to, since Klein's surgery is on the line. Impatient Nessa wants to go save Klein, so even if the rest are properly watching her, she just disappears to find Klein. Meanwhile, Klein wakes up fine and sees Nessa by his side. She claims she is here to watch over him. He learns her name is Frine, but he wants to go see his other Frine. Sunda talks to the other Lost Millennium faction leaders about attacking the temple laboratory, but they disagree and would prefer to sit and wait. But only Diaz agrees to come along because he deduces that Sunda has found something interesting. Frine Nessa takes Klein to a room filled with her clones in a tube. They are all Frines, and they can be touched, not doppels. They are all also keys. Klein gets a headache after reflecting on Sunda and Colin's words. Then he notices Frine Nessa's hand bruise and wraps a cloth around it. Elsewhere, Frine is taking an eligibility test, which turns out to be a virginity test. Suddenly, the room burst into flames. Nessa is here to rescue Klein, but the alarm has already sounded. They meet up with Klein. Frine leads the way as Klein asks about everything. She mentions that she was trying to run away from it all because she couldn't bear the fact that she was just a key, and was afraid she wouldn't be herself anymore, until she met him. They end up in a chamber with lots of Frine Nessa clones being vaporized. As explained, they are all failures and deemed useless. Frine says they are all her younger selves. Nessa is so engulfed in sadness that she fades away. Then Klein spots Frine Nessa with a bandage on her hand and tries to save her. Frine thinks his attempt is futile as there will be many more replacements, but he denies that each and every Frine is different and unique. It was enough for her to go help out, but Barrett arrives and gets them. Sunda and Diaz prepare the charge head-on since a sneak attack won't help as the laboratory has already detected them. The blast throws everyone inside off guard. Klein takes this chance to escape with Frine. Diaz makes a daring move by blasting his missiles right into the laboratory. Klein sees Frine Nessa and wants her to come along, but she points in the direction of the safety shelter before the whole area blows up. Thankfully, Klein, Frine, and Nessa are safe and well. The shelter is the only one standing, as the whole place is now a crater. Henry and Takami pick them up back to Danon. Morin talks about how perhaps they are receiving the same punishment from God. Barrett is still alive. He is sulking because he was humiliated and tortured after finding the key. Morin is left with no choice but to make an announcement to all the remaining Fractale citizens to exterminate the Lost Millennium faction. Klein talks to Frine and learns that Nessa is the first girl who looks like her. That personality that is called God and is residing in a girl's body is the soul. Thus, Frine is the body, the physical medium created to house that soul. The key will be born when the body and memories come together. That very key will allow the Fractale system, which is close to collapse due to entropy accumulation, to reboot. They don't know how this coming together thing will happen, but she feels that if it does, they won't be themselves anymore. Nessa wakes up from a nightmare of disappearing. Klain comforts them here and promises that they will all be together. A group of Fractale citizens gather outside Danon as they tell Sunda and his crew to get out of their place or else the temple will stop giving them blessing. They think their actions to destroy Fractale will only kill them. Henry becomes distraught that what she struggled for to free people has turned into this. Then they receive a report that villages of the Lost Millennium faction are being hit by the temple. They rush back to Granite's village as the Lost Millennium leaders hold a meeting about what to do next. Dia suggests that since Sunda holds the key, they have lost their rationality. There is no reason for them to exist. It's going to be a big showdown and an attack by every Lost Millennium force against the temple. Sunda wants Klain to stay back to protect Phryne and Nessa. Before Sunda and his crew depart, they take a group picture with his camera. Butchers have not been forgotten either. After that, Henry wanted to confess to Klain, but she ended up punching him when he thought she wanted to go to the toilet. Sunda wonders why they can laugh, so Phryne says that it's because they are scared. But they are more afraid if they can't protect the ones they love. Sunda and his crew leave and rendezvous with the other factions. Klain, Phryne, and Nessa spend time together and take time to notice the beauty of the natural world, regardless of the kinds of people. Phryne asks Klain's wish on the day star, so he says he wishes for all three of them to be together. But that night, Phryne decides to leave them while they're sleeping. Noting that Nessa was herself when she was beautiful, if she can be with him forever, she'll be okay with that. Phryne plans on returning to the temple to negotiate with Morin and Barrett and is confident because she is half the key, and she thanks Klain for giving her the confidence to do so. So when Klain reads her goodbye letter, he's not going to let her have her selfish ways. He's going to rescue her with Nessa. The big showdown with the temple and the Lost Millennium begins. There are lots of aerial missiles and beams. The temple can't go down that easy. Klain's mini blimp gets to catch up with Danon and board it. Sunda is not happy that they came because it means their efforts are wasted if both keys fall into the temple's hands. He punches Klain. Despite that, though he thinks they are murderers, he considers them his friends. That's why he wants to go where Phryne is. Diaz has overheard them and plans to use himself as a decoy to give time for the negotiation. Meanwhile, Phryne sees Morin. Phryne threatens she will kill herself if her request to let Nessa go isn't met, though she will stay here and endure the pain. Morin explains that it will be useless since they need both keys to reboot Fractale, and there will be no point in stopping this battle if she doesn't function as the key. She continues to say that people are dependent on Fractale. Take that away, and the world will descend into chaos. Sunda and Klain have breached into the temple. Morin asks Phryne's intention to return if she doesn't intend to become the key. She wants to stop this battle and is confident she can do it. That's because she knows Morin understands her feelings, as they used to be the exact same Phryne. Phryne explains that even if she is successful in rebooting Fractale, the same problem will recur again in hundreds of years' time. Then they will have to undergo painful experiments to see if they're fit to become the key. With tears in Morin's eyes, she has Phryne come to lie on her lap. Then she started strangling her. Morin is envious. Phryne is trying to protect something for someone she loves, but she, on the other hand, has no one to love but has to continue to protect this world. She will reboot this world as many times as it takes so that the people will die without knowing the true joy of being born or what is important to them. She considers this her revenge on the world for giving birth to her. After she lets go of Phryne, Phryne now understands Morin's sadness and leaves. Sunda is surprised to see Henry and Nessa in the temple. The army has captured Nessa in a spell, so for the first time, Klain fires his machine gun, killing the army and the old priestesses. Then they are surprised to see a blob floating around Dias and realize he has a terminal within him. He claims this is a necessary tactic to have a winning chance against the enemy on their ground. Klain and Nessa go off to search for Phryne. Sunda then hears Dias' actual sneaky plan to destroy the actual key to prevent the reboot for now. Sunda punches him, but Dias mocks him, saying that he has fallen for her. Nessa begins to fade as she sings the Day Star song. Klain wonders if that song was popular during the pre-Fractale days. Meanwhile, as Phryne escapes, she comes into contact with Dias' men. They fire at her, but the old priestesses protect her with their bodies. Finally, Phryne and Klain meet, but a glass wall prevents them from contacting each other. Nessa becomes their medium of communication, as Phryne says Nessa is all she wanted him to protect, the time of her memories when she was beautiful. Barrett arrived. He hugs her and starts licking her cheek. He wants to let her know how they are bonded by a deep love. Barrett explains the truth about the world. To conserve and protect the biological data of the original Phryne, whom they called God, the scientist who created the Fractale system split God into body and spirit, creating the key. Hundreds of years later, for some reason, the key did not fit into the keyhole when it became necessary. So they decided to have God descend again to reboot the system. God's spirit was that of a 10-year-old girl, and thus it is that 10-year-old girl they recreated and attempted to imbue with the spirit. However, the results failed no matter how many times they tried. Barrett were given this task, and, in the process, he adopted several of them as his daughters. Then one day he found the elusive secret to God and Phryne. It turns out God's age was 16 and not 10, as believed. Due to some traumatic experiences, God created a 10-year-old personality and hid herself in it. Barrett continues that God and Phryne went through the same experiment, and they learned about love. He starts bragging about how she belongs to only him and mocks what a total loser Klain. Phryne stabs him while he is ranting away. Phryne, upon realizing what she has done, runs away in shock. Nessa goes after her and comforts her. Then they hear a familiar song. Meanwhile, Klain is so troubled by Barrett's words that he starts seeing visions of him. He nearly mistook Henry for him and almost shot her. After that, they meet Sunda and explains that Daya's team has set off explosives all over the temple and is attempting suicide. The reason is that he knows he has been betrayed since all other factions have pulled out. Nevertheless, it proves that they're human after all. Sunda orders Henry to take the rest of their men out of the temple and assures her he'll return. Sunda and Klain follow a familiar song to a room where Morin is conducting the sacred ceremony. Phryne and Nessa have volunteered to be part of the ceremony and become the keys to the world. Morin invites them to witness the historical moment that happens only once every 1,000 years. Diaz comes in and wishes to be part of the moment. He goes up to Morin and hugs her. The way he says things indicates that he's going to sacrifice himself. Diaz blows both of them up. In the commotion, Sunda has Klain, Phryne, and Nessa enter an elevator to the firmament. Sunda tells Klain to follow the path you believe in. He stays back to stall the advancing soldiers. As the trio ride the elevator up, Phryne is going to merge with Nessa, though it may be risky, and they may lose their lives. Klain wants to know if they cared about his feelings, and though both the temple and Sunda had some things right and some things wrong, he is definite he'd be sad if he loses both of them. He then hugs Phryne and says he loves her. Even if she's stubborn and decides things on herself, he loves her for being that way. Meanwhile, Henry has managed to get Danon out of the temple and finds it hard to contain her tears. Grandpa comforts her by saying Lost Millennium wasn't created to destroy the fractale system, but to pass down true freedom of being humans to future generations. Klain and Phryne reach the top of the firmament. Phryne says this is where Nessa's memories will lead them from here. They see a short video clip when God, a happy Phryne recording a video of herself summing up her courage to go to some place called Fractale for data collection. She gets her confidence from a stuffed toy rabbit named Nessa. But as Phryne notes, they are both different because that Phryne was able to accept this twisted world with a smile. At first Phryne thought she couldn't, but now feels she can because of Klain and Nessa. They were there for her. She wants to protect them with all her strength. Klain promises that no matter what happens, he'll take them both back in life together. Phryne and Nessa start the process as they sing the Daystar song. Klain could only watch, but oddly he couldn't shed any tears because he feels that there are people wishing for his eternal smile. In the aftermath, Fractale has been rebooted and a year has passed. People have begun to rely less on Fractale to live. Henry and the Granite's family are doing fine. Henry is grooming into a fine leader as Grandpa says that another reboot is impossible since the temple was completely destroyed. Meanwhile, Klain continues to live in his permanent house. Phryne is also there but sleeping in his bed. Then she wakes up and it's like both personalities of Phryne and Nessa. When Phryne says that she loves him ever since the first time they met, he breaks down and hugs her. Thank you for watching till the end, and please don't forget to subscribe.